guys, this is Matt from House Geeks. In this video I'm going to talk about elites, tactics, things that I've used, things that I've seen used. I'm going to split the video into two parts because there's 6 elite choices. So this video I'll go over Trueborn, Incubi and Mandrakes. Hope you enjoy the video. Cheers. Right, first I'm going to talk about Dark Eldar Trueborn for the Elite choice. First, I'd just like to say first off that the picture that should be on the screen now will be the heads that I'm going to be using for my Trueborn. There's no difference model-wise for the Carbolite Warriors in the Trueborn. So these heads I'm using are from Fantasy Dark Elves Executioners, I think. So yeah, the Dark Eldar Trueborn that I already use, I'll be removing the heads and replacing them with these once I've got them painted. Anyway, enough of that, into the stats. Right, Trueborn have Weapon Skill 4, Ballistic Skill 4, Strength Toughness 3, 1 Wound, Initiative 5, 2 Attacks, Leadership 9. So they're basically 1 attack better than a standard warrior and 1 leadership better than a standard warrior. Same save, so 5+ save, infantry. Now the points wise, they are 40 points for 5 normal Carbolite Warriors, but to make them into Trueborn, 3 points each, so a squad of 5 will be 55 points. You can upgrade 1 to a Drakon, which is 10 points, which is exactly the same points cost for a Cyberite. Personally, I don't think the only reason why I take a Cyberite in a Carbolite Warrior squad is for the upgraded leadership, so in case you need leadership tests, pinning tests, any fear tests, any form of psychology test. Really, you only take that Cyberite really for the leadership. But if you're taking a squad of Trueborn, that 10 points can be spent better elsewhere, really. So, although the Drakon does get an additional attack, so he comes out with 3 attacks, but still, I don't think it's a good take, really. I've seen a few people use Trueborn, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone use a Drakon because of the fact that you can spend the 10 points better elsewhere. The only reason why I can imagine people would take a Drakon is for haywire grenades, but the reason why I still don't think you need one is because you can take more specialist weapons with Trueborn, which I will get into now. Where are we? For up to 4 Trueborn may take items from the specialist weapon lists. So if you're taking a squad of 5, 4 of them can have specialist weapons, which is really good, especially if you're flying them up the battlefield in a Venom, which I will talk about shortly. So your specialist weapon choices will be a Shredder for 5 points or a Blaster for 15. From what I've seen, blasters are the way to go. They're what I use. Yeah, I'll get into that shortly. Just quickly let you know that they can also have may take up to 2 heavy weapons. So the heavy weapon choices they can have is a Splinter Cannon at 15 points and a Dark Lance for 20. Again, I don't think I've seen many people take Splinter Cannons and Dark Lances for them. Blasters seem to be the way to go, really. I think I've heard them called short-term Blasterborn. And then they can obviously take dedicated transport, so Raider or Venom. Right, tactics and things that I've used personally. I usually take 5 Trueborn, so 55 points, in a Venom, which is another 55 points, so 110 points. You then give that Venom a Splinter Cannon, because it's quite a good upgrade to take, really. So that's an additional 10 points, that's 120 points. And then you want to be kitting them out with literally 4 blasters, so you can take 4 specialist weapons. So we're on 120 points plus 60, so 180 points. It might sound like a lot, but you've basically got a mobile gun platform that's able to fly around the battlefield, taking out pretty much you're not far off taking out a tank a turn, really. It is only an 18-inch range, which is its own, which is, the vehicle's only down for. But obviously, because you're in that Venom, in the Splinter Cannons have got 36-inch range. So if you get the first turn, you're able to move up 6. So you're 18 inches away, so you're still not going to be able to shoot any enemy vehicles. But with your Splinter Cannon, you're going to be able to pepper, enemy infantry. So you're going to have 12 shots, 3 to hit, 4 to wound, which is nice. Or you can move up 12 and still get your full amount of shots because it's a fast skimmer. So you're still going to get your 12 shots with your Splinter Cannons, and then you're going to be snap firing with your Trueborn, which isn't an ideal situation, but me personally, I like to play the Trueborn a bit more conservative. So you're basically hugging the terrain and hugging the cover with your Venom, and basically popping off shots. I think the last game I played against one of my friends who was using Blood Angels, and I think the Venom didn't get killed, didn't get wrecked until turn 4. So the Blastborn were walking round, and by that turn, every vehicle on that flank was dead, and everything that had a 2+ save was dead on that flank, and they were supported by other units as well. Because that's the great thing about Dark Eldar, is everything works well together. It's all about synergy. Other ways of playing them, I have seen other people take squads of 10 and have obviously 2 Dark Lances for your heavy weapons. So it's almost like a Space Marine Devastator squad, and you're using the other 8 models as meat shields. But again, you're paying points for basically just 2 Dark Lances. It'd be more beneficial to not bother with that and take a Ravager. Small elite squads of Trueborn in Venoms flying around is a lot more beneficial. I mean, if you're against I'm not list sniping at all, but if you want to take something that's completely anti-infantry, you take a 5-man squad, have 3 with I always forget the names, shredders, which I think is still only 18 inches, but you could take the other 2 with where are we? Splinter Cannons. So you're going to have your 2 Splinter Cannons on the vehicle. So that's going to be 12 shots, and you're going to get another 12 shots from your 2 Splinter Cannons carried by the Dark Eldar inside. So you've got a really long range, 36-inch range vehicle platform that people are going to be shooting out of. You're going to have 24 shots, 3s to hit, 4s to wound any monstrous creature, any infantry unit. So 24 shots against a Wraith Knight. You averages are you're not going to kill it run round and shoot him, but you're definitely going to you're going to be hurting it really, because I think they've got 6 wounds, 3+ save, so you might be wounding it twice, 3 times. So 2 rounds to shoot him with that, and it's gone. But personally, I prefer the Blasterborn, just to give you that extra punching power for against enemy vehicles. Sorry, but yeah, if people have got ideas of how other people how you've used them, please leave a comment. But from what I've seen in tournaments and games online, videos I've seen, it seems to be small 5-man units with blasters really. So I shall now move on to the Incubi. Incubus comes in at weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 4, strength and toughness 3, 1 wound. It's initiative 5, has 2 attacks. It's leadership 9, and it's a 3+ save. I think it's literally the best save in the entire book, apart from the Archon with a shadow field. It's infantry. You get 3 models in the squad, and it's 60 points. So for 60 points, you get 3 Incubi. They have the witch suits, Incubi witch suit, war suit, sorry, which gives it a 3+ save, and they come armed with a clave. Now, I think this is literally the only AP2 weapon apart from the glaive that the succubus can have. So basically, these guys are designed for getting in combat quick and killing pretty much whatever they get into combat with. The Clave gives them +1 strength, so they're going to be at strength 4, and it's AP 2, melee two-handed. Specialist rulers who have fleet, so they're able to, if the foot's slogging, they're able to get across the battlefield quicker, able to reroll the run move, or the thing that's better for them, I think, is you're using that fleet move to reroll your charge distance. They've got night vision, power from pain, and the Clavex, which is this basically the sergeant of the unit, has rampage. Power from pain for these is really good. Obviously, the more the game ticks on, so you're going to have, feel no pain from turn 2. Excuse me. Yeah, feel no pain with a 6 up at turn 2. Feel no pain standard, so 5 up. Feel no pain at turn 3, and then you can from turn 4 you're going to have feel no pain and furious charge. So from turn 4 onwards, you're going to be strength 5 on the charge. Like I've mentioned in previous videos, if you've not seen them, go and by all means go and have a watch of them. Really, they are quite helpful. Using homunculus or using a Archon with the Animus Vitae, you're able to increase that turn counter, so you're going to be able to get the Furious Charge. You're going to be able to get Fearless a lot quicker. From turn 6, you're going to be getting Rage, and if you're using a homunculus in the squad and an Animus Vitae, and to increase this turn, that Rage you could be getting that Rage at turn 4, which is just horrendous. Having 2 attacks on the charge at strength 5, so you'd be base 2 attacks, 4 attacks on the charge, strength 5, and you'd just be wasting stuff all day. Options for the squad: you can take up to 7 additional Incubi at 20 points each. That's standard. One model may be upgraded to a Clavex for 10 points. The Clavex is slightly different compared to normal Incubi. He's better weapon skill, so his weapon skill 6. He's better ballistic skill, which doesn't really matter because you've not got a shoot and attack, so his ballistic skill 5. He's +1 initiative as well, so he's actually initiative 6. So he's up 1 on the Incubi. He's +1 attack, so he's got 3 attacks base. But he himself comes with rampage. His unit doesn't get it. He himself gets rampage. The way rampage works is if your opponent outnumbers you, so you actually count the models in each combat round, each combat phase. If your opponent has the same or more models than you, you gain an additional D3 attacks. So if you've got 5 Incubi in the squad with a Clavex, and they charge into a unit of 10 Space Marines, the Clavex by himself is going to have 3 attacks base, +1 for the charge, so that's going to be 4, and then rampage if you roll obviously a 5 or a 6 because it's D3, so that's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7 attacks on the charge. That's, you'd be hitting on 3s, strength 4, so you'd be winning on 4s, which is well, 4s on D6 I suppose is average. So you're going to be, you're just going to be wasting Marines, and it's only a 10-point upgrade for that. Me personally, I think it is very, a very good upgrade to take. The other option is that the Clavex may replace his Clave with Demiclaves. Demiclaves are like basically like two swords that can fold into one, basically Clave. It's got a slightly different profile to a Clave. You can use it double-handed, so exactly the same as it would be, so +1 strength, AP 2, and it's melee two-handed. Or you can use it single-handed, so basically two combat weapons, so you're going to be getting +1 attack base. So he'll be 4 attacks base, that's without charging and without the rampage, but it's only AP 3. So if you're coming against Marines, obviously you use it single-handed and you're going to be getting that extra attack. Or if you're coming against Terminators, you're going to be using it two-handed to get that AP 2. It's 15 points. Now personally, I don't think it's necessary. It can be quite handy. to have that one extra attack against things that have got a 3+ save. But personally, I don't think it's that great. I mean, one of my pictures on my slides is the Clavex model that I have done. One of the Incubi models has got like a red paint on his face. That was before I actually made my own Clavex or converted my own Clavex. So that the Incubi with the red face paint will probably have his face repainted white. But the Clavex that I've made is basically using I think they're called a tonfa, which is what Japanese police use. He's got 2 bladed tonfa, and that's from the witch's sprue witch's troop sprue, which I ordered them off a Bits website. And yeah, they're really easy to convert. Really, instead of basically gluing the clave on, you replace one with the arm, and you just take the weapon off the plastic arm, and stick it to the model. So it's not too hard really to do. But the only reason I've done that is so you can tell which one it is. It's a lot easier to tell. But yeah, tactics for these guys. I've seen them used in 2 ways. I've seen them used in small squads of 5 in a Venom, or in 4 in a Venom, with a Clavex, so you're getting that extra attack and you're getting that rampage. And they're flying around the battlefield, and they're obviously jumping out the Venom, because it's open tops. You can jump out the vehicle and assault. The reason why I see people with 5 of them, because when they get into combat with something, if they don't kill it outright, they've still got a possibility of being locked in combat. And being locked in combat on your own turn is a good thing, because if you completely wipe out the squad that you've charged, your opponent will be able to shoot you in his turn, which isn't good, because there won't be anything left really, because your opponent will go, Incubi, there are a lot of points and they're not particularly very nice. I'm going to take them off the board so I don't have to deal with them. So that's one thing that I am umming and ahhing with my own army. I have played the last game I played against a Blood Angel player, and I took a unit of 8 in a Raider. Now the downside to taking the good thing about taking big squads is you charge them into a unit and they just absolutely decimate it, but then they're left out in the open. The reason why I took 8 in the squad was because I was expecting to lose some. Although you shouldn't really be thinking like that, but I try to plan ahead so that when they do charge into combat, I have got enough left to try and to try and stay in the fight really with the Incubi. So yeah, that's what I was aiming for. Unfortunately, it didn't work out too well. They were in the Raider that they were in, blew up, and then my opponent charged me with I think he charged me with 10 Death Company with jump packs. He failed, so I then charged him with my 8 Incubi, and I just obliterated the unit, and then he was able to then shoot me. If he made it into combat, I would have been going first with my initiative 5. Then I would have just decimated him, and then I'd been able to move into cover or jump into another transport. Transport wise, if you are going to go with 5 models in the squad, I would still say to go for a Raider. Personally, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me here, but I quite like the Raider, because if you just go with a standard Raider, 55-point Raider, and you're going to be definitely want to be taking Night Shields. It's 15-point upgrade, so you're 55 points plus 15, so you're 70 points. Yeah, it's a bit of overkill compared to having taken a Venom, but the thing is you've got that Night Shields upgrade, so you're going to be jinking and getting that 3+ cover. So if you get the first turn, you can skirt up the battlefield with your Dark Lance or with your digester cannon, I think it's called. Shoot some enemy models and things. Then your opponent's going to be shooting you because he knows that you're going to have Incubi in that unit. But because you're going to be jinking, you're going to have that 3+ cover save. Obviously against Tau and against certain Eldar units, that cover save won't mean anything. But there's nothing you can do about that. But that 3+ cover save is a really, really big help, especially if you've got a unit that's charging forward, trying to get into combat, trying to get locked into combat. Just like I mentioned on a previous video about the witches. If you've not seen that video, I suggest you go and see that as well. It's quite informative, really. But yeah, the downside to it is obviously it's 70 points for the transport, and you're using that is to literally get into your enemy's face, drop your troops off, and that's it. That vehicle is then, cannon fodder, I suppose, or it could be used to, zip around the battlefield and harass enemies with its gun. The Incubi can jump back on it once they're done murdering whatever it is that they've killed. Incubi, in my eyes, are best used in turns 2 and 3. So your first turn, you do want to be slightly moving forward with them, but not being too aggressive. You could move forward full 12, turbo boost, be in your enemy's line straight away, and then everything in your enemy unit, in your enemy army, is going to shoot at that vehicle. But with that 3+ cover save, it will help. And then on your second turn, you guys just jump off the ladders, run into combat, and just pretty much smack around whatever they've charged. So even if you are taking a small unit, I would still recommend a raider personally. Like I say, a lot of people will disagree with me, but thinking survivability wise, it's quite a good option to take, really. If other people have had success using them different ways, definitely comment, because we are all here to help each other with learning the dark arts, the Dark Eldar, really. Alright, finally for this part of the video, I'll go on to Mandrakes. Mandrakes are 36 points for 3 models. They come out at weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4, strength 4. So I think they are one of few units that actually have a better strength than normal Eldar. They are toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 5, 2 attacks base, and they are leadership 8, and they have no save at all. The Night Fiend, which is basically the sergeant of the unit, pretty much has exactly the same stat line as before. So weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4, strength 4, toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 5. They have got 3 attacks, so that's 1 better, and they are leadership 9. Rules wise, war gear, they have got a Bale Blast, which is a range of 18 inches, which is not great, but it's they have got other rules, so they can start closer to the enemy. It is strength 4, AP 4, which is really handy against things like Tau Eldar, other Dark Eldar, Orcs, Imperial Guard, Tyranids. A lot of Tyranids obviously got a 4+ save. It's Assault 2, so you're going to get 2 shots each, and it's also got Soul Blaze. Soul Blaze is quite a nice little thing, but it's something that I always forget. I shouldn't forget it really, because it can help, but it's just one of them things. It's a bit quirky for me, and I always end up forgetting it. I shouldn't forget it, but I do really. They also come with a single close combat weapon. Special rules then, there's quite a list here. So they have Fear, Fleet, Infiltrate, Move Through Cover, Night Vision, like all Dark Eldar, Power from Pain. They have Shrouded and Stealth. A lot of people get this wrong, but Shrouded and Stealth do stack. So even in the open, right in the middle of the open, in the middle of a field, in the middle of the road, they have a 4+ cover save all the time, which is really good. And if they're in cover, it's obviously going to increase that cover save to usually up to about 2+. Ruin buildings 4+ for being in the ruin building. Shrouded will take it to a 2+ stealth. A 1 is always a fail, but that having that shrouded and stealth is really handy. I mean, even standing behind a barbed wire fence, they're going to have a 3+ cover save. So that's is really good. Options for the mandrakes: you could take an additional mandrake for 12 points. To increase that unit up to 10. So you can have a maximum of 10, and you can take a Night Fiend for 10 points. Now I've only used mandrakes once, because in this edition they are they're quite good. They're a lot better than they used to be. I mean, the mandrakes, people that have been playing Dark Eldar for a while will know that the mandrakes rules in the previous codex were terrible. I mean, the models are some of my favourite models in 40k. They're really stunning models, but the rules in the previous edition were like, why would you take them? They're proper dog muck basically. They were just absolutely terrible. But this new edition, giving them shrouded and stealth, so 4+ cover in the open, strength 4, AP 4, range 18 weapons, so assault 2. So if you've got 10 of them, you're going to be getting 20 shots. I think they're good. Competitive, I think other things would be a better choice. If you wanted to go for a bit of diversity in your army, then I'd say take them and try them out. But competitive wise, I think that people will be using other things, taking other options really. Tactics for using them. Well, you're obviously going to be infiltrating them, so they're going to be in cover straight away, which is always handy. You're going to be 18 inches to 12 inches away from your enemy, so even if you move 1 inch, you're going to be in range with your Bale Blast straight away. I would probably say you want to be taking units of 8 at least. I'd probably say about 8 models at least to get because you're going to be infiltrating. They're going to be targeted first. And if your opponent is Tau or is Eldar, they're just gonna go poof pretty much. Which you can't help really, but 10's quite a nice random. I mean, I myself have got a unit of 10, so a unit of 10 will come in at 120 points, 130 points if you use a Night Fiend, which is something I would recommend. Having that extra leadership is very very helpful, especially in this new edition of 40k. Really, there's a lot of things that are able to, a lot of things that cause fear, pinning, leadership tests. It seems to be a lot more of a used thing in this new edition of 40k. So having that extra leadership does help. I would probably say to play mandrakes, you're best off playing them, a bit conservative, really. They don't want to be rushing forward. Yes, they've got 2 attacks. Yes, they're strength 4. They don't want to be getting into combat. Their strengths are using that strength 4, AP 4 Bale Blast. 2 shots each. So you're probably looking at about mid-table, sitting on objectives, harassing enemy units that are coming towards. Moving through cover as you're falling back towards your main line, using that Bale Blast, because obviously it's an assault weapon, so you're always going to be able to fire it. I think the last time I used them, I took a unit of 5. They did all right. They didn't do anything. They weren't a game changer, but I wanted to use them because I'd literally just painted them, and I wanted to use something that I just painted. But yeah, they did all right in the game. They didn't do too bad, but they didn't do too great either. Like I say, they're not. I wouldn't class them as a competitive take in a Dark Eldar list, but I wouldn't say they were terrible. They're a hell of a lot better than what they used to be. So yeah, that's about it really for my the first 3 elite choices in the Dark Eldar Codex. If you've got any ideas or anything that you've used, out of these three that's different to what I've said, by all means comment. It really helps build people's tactics and things to use these models that are really nice. So that's going to be it for this part of the video. So watch out for the next part. The next part will be the Blood Brides, the Racks, and the Grotesques. So keep an eye out for that video. Hope you enjoyed this one. Cheers, guys.